Wow, that is going to be a long flight from New York. Oh my God.
From New
And
York to Buenos Aires, it's something like 10 hours, I think.
wow. Okay, cool. Well, thank
Yeah.
you everybody for sharing your options here. So the next thing I want to put up on the screen is a map of the Mendoza region. And so actually, if I go back real quick, I didn't mention that our like the Mendoza area is circled in red down in Argentina. So zooming in a little bit, this is our Napa Valley Wine Academy map of Mendoza, and you can see that it's divided into a few different regions, actually. And so some of the subregions in Mendoza are becoming more well known. I think the Uco Valley is probably the most well known, but there's also Luján de Cuyo. And so, one thing I wanted to point out looking at this map is that one of the really big influences in Argentine and wine from Mendoza is altitude. And so I know we had in the first slide the beautiful photos of the Andes, but in the distance, but the whole region is actually pretty high in altitude. And so Mendoza City is over 2,400 meters or 7,800 feet in altitude, and then it just goes up from there. And so you can see on the left side of this slide, the Andes, they're pretty high. And so with this like increase in altitude, you get cooler temperatures, but you also get stronger sunlight. And so that can lead to more refreshing wines with higher acidity and some floral aromas, but also deeper color, right? And so this is kind of one of those things that Mendoza wines are famous for, right? And so the other thing to point out on this slide is that some of the regions are further apart than you might think. And so, for example, it's going to be difficult to go back and forth between like the Uco Valley and say Luján de Cuyo in the same day. So probably, have kind of your Uco Valley day or a couple of Uco Valley days, right? And then maybe you spend another day or a couple of days only in Luján de Cuyo, right? And so, Kala, do you have any other tips on getting around?
Yes, well, all the area of Uco Valley as well as Luján de Cuyo are full of wineries. If you don't have too much time, maybe you can go to Uco Valley very early in the morning, and then you pass through Luján de Cuyo when you go back to the Mendoza city. You can do that if you don't have too much time, but it's not the best option. The best option is just to enjoy all the day on Uco Valley. Also because see the sunset over the Andes mountains is something really magical. It's something spectacular. I don't know if you, Kendra and Jean, remember this year that when we were on Super Uco, the winery, that nobody wants to leave the winery. And it was like 6 or 7 p.m. in the afternoon, and nobody wants to leave that place because it was really nice.